Greetings. I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe Gamer, and welcome to the second half of me looking at my G.I. Joe collection of comic books. Last time I covered the Marvel run from issues 1 to 155, and I was missing maybe about 15 of those. Then I went over my complete run of the G.I. Joe Special Missions and the few I had of the Devil's Due special missions that they did. What I missed was a few things from the Marvel run, were the yearbooks. I had one, but I was going to show this in that video. This is the collection of all 4 of the G.I. Joe yearbooks that came out in the Marvel run. This is really cool. I like the yearbooks. They had a collection of some of the covers for that year in each one of these, so it was pretty cool. I was kind of sad when they stopped doing that. Right after the series ended, here's the 4th one. That's the only one of the individual issues that I have. But right after the series ended, they had a series on Image in Image Comics called Frontline that Larry Hama wrote, and I managed to pick that up, and it was pretty decent. But when he went on and did his IDW series, he kind of disavowed this completely. I'm not sure if he left it as part of his main storyline or if he just did this as a separate thing, because they didn't refer to this at all when he started up again. I managed to start collecting the IDW. I didn't even realize he was doing it again for quite a while. But so I started collecting these trade paperbacks with like 6 issues in them. And so I picked up the first volume. And so this has like the 156 to 162 or something like that. And I enjoy the IDW run. So it was pretty cool, which is why I've been trying to get them all. But I haven't collected all the trades. And then I had started collecting. I got a subscription and started collecting it again later on. But I don't really remember a lot that happened to these, because I read them once and then kind of put them away. And it's not that that weren't good stories, because they are. They're still Larry Hama, and it would continue the same storyline. But I don't know. I just, at the time, and still haven't really jumped back into reading much of anything lately. I do put out a lot of books of my own and game books, but as far as reading other stuff, it doesn't. Sometimes it seems like I just don't have the time, or that I don't make the time. It's more like what it is. But then, these covers they had for the trade paperbacks were pretty good, and it got the story, So it has a series, quite a few of them. So I ended up getting 12 of these, so that was like a little over 60 books. And welcome, Real Melanated Che TV. I think that's how you pronounce that, or is that Chi Chi? But yeah, I'm just looking at my comic books tonight from G.I. Joe. I checked out the first half of my collection, which was the Marvel run last time. So my first G.I. Joe and Me edition, I did that last month. When they did the IDW, it was pretty cool. And I was glad he started doing that again, because I really missed comics, and it seemed like Larry Hama just kept writing the way he used to. So the second one, yeah, this is the second edition, yeah, of this video series. No, I don't sell them. These are ones I keep for myself, and I'm just sharing them so people can see some of the nice covers that they did for them. And I like to talk about the collection. So if you have any questions about G.I. Joe, that's kind of what I do, is G.I. Joe and tabletop RPGs. If you're into that kind of stuff, then my channel's for you, and you're more than welcome to be here. The more the merrier is the way I look at it. But like I said, I picked up 12 of these trade paperbacks for the IDW series. I don't remember exactly how many issues this covered, but like I said, 6 times 2 is 12, and 6 in so 72 is what it covers. And I actually think most of my cooler stuff is in the first video. So if you get a chance to, if you want to check that out, that's on my channel too. Um, yeah, the issue 10 was pretty good. The Rolling Thunder was a neat vehicle. And like I said, I don't remember a lot of these because I've only read them once. Let's see. So where's a good place to get them for a good price? You know, you could get them online on eBay or at some other places like that. Facebook has some groups that sell them. You're really better off going down to your local comic book store if you could find one, and they might have them. If not, they probably can order them for you. It's been a while since I've been into actually collecting comics, but I do love these old G.I. Joe books. I have a lot of like Avengers comics, and I have a good deal of Doctor Strange. So I'll be showing those off at a future date. But yeah, collecting comics can be it can be a lot of fun. I suggest doing a lot of the older books before you get into some of the newer ones. You can get mint-condition comics on eBay, but make sure that they have the comics grade. That they've been graded by the comics grade company, CGC, I think it's called, if I remember right. Like I said, I haven't been into it in a while, but they'll grade it for you, and then you'll know the quality and how much they're supposed to charge for it. And you can look up prices online just by putting the comic title and issue in Google. But I really like this one. This was the last of the trade paperbacks I picked up, and it's where they killed off Snake Eyes. And so if you're into G.I. Joe, you know that's their big character. Now, this was in one of those, but I had to. This is where I realized that he was putting comics out again, and I managed to pick up the 200th issue. So if you like G.I. Joe, we're looking at some G.I. Joe. And then I started getting the series around issue 233. I still haven't caught up in the trade paperbacks, but what I like to do is if I have the next issue, I put it in the back, but I don't have 234. I managed to get that one, and then I got a subscription on 240. So I managed to get quite a decent run on some of these. And this is when Don Moreno got Snake Eyes' all Snake Eyes' memories downloaded into her brain, and she actually became a Snake Eyes type individual. Greetings, Lucas. How you doing, bud? Nice to see you looking at the G.I. Joe comics tonight. And I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. You were Buffett. But we'll take a look at these. And Lucas says, hey. And the real melanated JJ TV says, hey to you too, Lucas. Good. Like I said, Don Moreno kind of took over at Snake Eyes there for a bit. Oh, I was buffering. Sorry. Yeah, it happens. I don't have the highest quality of internet. Sometimes it buffers me out, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm saying at least. And then I had issue 239. I probably should have showed that one first, and then I got 240. This was an interesting looking cover. It had the Rashikage symbol over it, and you could see through it and see all the characters involved in the storyline. It was pretty cool. It's all good, Lucas. You're welcome to hang out or just take a look. You know how I am. I'm just real chill and casual on Thursdays, and then Fridays we do our main show. And tomorrow night we're going to be looking at the movie The Shadow, so that should be fun. Anyway, that was 240, and looks like I got these all in here backwards, so I'll have to flip them as I look at them. It's issue 241, and I like the covers with Lady J. There's Flint down there. These are some pretty good covers, and the storylines were pretty good too. And I tried to read them every month when I got them, and I'm pretty sure I read through all of these. And then I managed to get 244, but I missed 245. So I don't have that one. Oh, wait, I do have 245. It's 243 I missed. Here's 244, 245. And some of these covers with Don Moreno were really cool. Hello, Winter Willow. Welcome. Just looking at G.I. Joe comics tonight. Like I said, she basically had all of Snake Eyes' memories. So when she would kind of go into a trance, she basically was Snake Eyes in the comic series. It was kind of interesting. Excuse me, I'm dealing with a little bit of a sinus thing this week, so that might be half of my problem today. Then they did this series right after she confronted Storm Shadow. They went into the series where the Arashikage rebuilt up, and they started training her officially. No, not an actual play tonight, Winter Willow. Monday nights is when we do our games. Thursdays, I kind of chill stream and just look at stuff. And Fridays, we do our Fridays from the Hill, where we look at, we kind of give previews and stuff and look at some of the videos we did during the week and talk about the games on Monday. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night. And then we also look at, we try to pick a topic or a movie. And tomorrow night, we're looking at The Shadow. So if you like that movie, then tomorrow night would be a good time to check us out. Then we had 249, and then I managed to pick up 250. I always like to get those key issues, like 225 and 250, if I can. And I managed to pick up 200 and 250. I have, and you got a really cool Stalker cover right here. Stalker's what is the original Ranger of G.I. Joe, and Larry Hama never stopped using this character, so I really enjoy Stalker. He's one of their better field leaders. And then, of course, how can you not like a Baroness cover? I like the Baroness. She's, to me, one of the coolest Cobra villains there is. Her and Zartan, the Cobra Commander. Like all these characters. And then we got some of these were, not as high quality as some of the Marvels, I think, but they're still pretty good. And then they turn around on the next issue and do something like this and have this really cool Destro cover. It is his despoiler of aircraft. And that was 255. And then I got, that was 254. And here's 255. Nice Destro of the Baroness cover. And 256. Dr. Venom from way back in the original series ended up having his mind downloaded in the computer, and he took over Dr. Mindbender's body for a while, and then he was trying to build himself a new body. I'm not sure how that storyline played out because I wasn't able to keep collecting them after a certain amount. I'll have to see how far we got. It'll be a surprise for both of us. But yeah, I did try to pick up these the IDW run, and now they're going to start over again with issue 301 with a new comic company. I believe this next month is when that's coming out. Let me see what you say there, Winter Willow. How did the guy get the metal head? It's actually a mask that he wears. Ironically enough, I have one of the figures here on my desk here. A little bit of dust on it, but naturally, we see. Clear it off a little bit so you get a better look. And it's a metal mask that he wears, and it's hinged on the side, and he can actually open it up and take the whole thing off. It's pretty cool. And it's a traditional family mask. Supposedly, depending on the storyline you go by, he is descended from the man in the Iron Mask. It's kind of cool. And his whole family is a bunch of arms dealers. But anyway, there was 257. Let me see if I remember right. I'm pretty sure this was Bomb Strike, another female Joe that showed up, and some kids she was protecting. And Bomb Strike turned out to be a really cool character, but she wasn't in the original Marvel run, but she was definitely in the IDW run. And a really good Cobra Commander cover here. going up against Dr. Venom on the computer in the background. When he was in that robot for a bit. And we have issue 259, more Destro the Baroness. A lot of people love these covers. They're fighting some of those. What they had there for a while was called the Blue Ninjas, where they were cybernetic ninjas. They were pretty cool. And then we had, I'm pretty sure that's a Desert Fox. And you got CoverGirl in the driver's seat and Repeater in the gun seat. Good characters. Not a lot of people are familiar with Repeater, but he was in the original series as well. Came out in 1988. CoverGirl came out in 1983 and came with a Wolverine, which was a tank that had 12 missiles on the back. It was pretty cool. And this was issue 260. Like I said, I like to pick up those even numbers. And then they started doing this, and this was a yearbook that they put out for that year for 2019, and had a really good Don Moreno cover. Yeah, I like the Baroness too, Winter Willow. She's like I said, her Cobra Commander and Zartan are my favorite Cobras, and sometimes I have a hard time deciding which one of them is my favorite from day to day. You had another Destro the Baroness cover here on 261. I think Larry Hama really liked these two characters, and the fact that they were a couple throughout most of the series. They stayed pretty true to each other. Not always, but life happens. That's a good Ripcord cover. 262. And then 263 was kind of a memorial issue, and all the Joes that died, they had a tribute to them in this issue. It was really good. Pretty well done comic, I thought, anyway. And then that's kind of where I ended my run on the IDW. It was 263, and they went all the way up to 300, but I didn't manage to get any more of them, except for this series here that was called Silent Option, starring Agent Helix, and Bob Strike was in this with Alpine, Torpedo, and Don Moreno again. And let me see who else was in there. I'm pretty sure. And the other Snake Eyes. They had both Snake Eyes in there. After Snake Eyes died, his apprentice, in the action figures he was called Kamakura, but in the comics he was called Throwdown. He took over for Snake Eyes there for a while. And so for a while you had a girl Snake Eyes and a guy Snake Eyes. It was kind of interesting. But they had them both in this Silent Option series that was basically Agent Helix's origin. And this was a really good run from the IDW. And Larry Hama, just a really awesome writer. He did this whole series too. And so you got some decent covers, mostly involving Agent Helix. And like this one here where she was strapped to blobs. It was pretty cool. And then they ended the series with this issue number 4. It was really good. So if you want to know about Agent Helix, this is the series to get right here. Silent Option from IDW, issues 1 through 4. I think they put it in the trade paperback, but I'm not 100% sure about that. While I was collecting those, I managed to pick up this reprint and a nice. It was like a tribute issue to issue number 1 of the Marvel run, and I really like this cover, so I picked it up. It's a nice little foil cover, and you know what? It's hard to see with the plastic, so I'm going to take it out and show it a bit better here. They have the foil logo there, and so it was kind of a tribute to the original cover with them all jumping off the tank, the Mobat. Some of the original members. You got Grunt back here. And you got Steeler driving the tank. And then you got that's Hawk there, Roadblock, Snake Eyes, and Scarlet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Hawk. Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was a really good comic. And then they had Duke up in the corner. I don't know why, because he wasn't in the original run of the series. The first, he wasn't in it till he showed up in issue 22. Nope, that wasn't G.I. Joe. That was our Linharo game. It's a fantasy role-playing game, Winter Willow. All right, so the play that we were doing on Monday, the game, that was my Ravagers of Carnage series, and that's our main game system. for Linharo Fantasy Adventures. What's up, Spine Ticks? The military action game is a new game I'm putting out, and we're going to be playtesting it starting Monday. So session 1 will be in that, and Spine Ticks is going to be there too. He's one of the players. So welcome, Spine Ticks. Really cool series they put out was called Declassified for the Devil's Due, and Larry Hama actually wrote these before he started doing the IDW run, and this was kind of like a re-origin story for his original 13 characters of G.I. Joe, and they each went through and told how they joined G.I. Joe in this 3-issue run. It was pretty cool. So I have issues 2 and 3 right here, and it was a nice look back. And yes, pew pew. So if you get a chance, the DW Devil's Due Press put out this a bunch of declassified stuff. I have some more, but not by Larry Hama. I put all my Larry Hama stuff together. And then they released some comic packs with action figures. Something the Spine Ticks would know all about. I like to do these trifecta videos where he does a comic, a card, and a character, an action figure. It's pretty cool. So check out Spine Ticks' show. He does some good stuff. This is like another reprint of the first one, and it came with like 2 or 3 figures. And I'm not really sure. I said I have a bunch of these. Let's see. Winter Willow says, the most I know about G.I. Joe was the cartoons when I got home from school. Yeah, that's what got me into it. And I started collecting in 85, and I never stopped. Spike Tick says, oh, yes, the trifecta. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. This was a reprint of issue 5. Like I said, it came with, this one came with 3 figures, Breaker, and I'm pretty sure one of the Cobra Troopers. It was a nice little 3-pack, and I managed to pick this up. And I got the comic pack with issue 8. This was one of the few of the Marvel run that wasn't written by Larry Hama. It was written by the artist Herb Trimpe. It was a pretty good issue too. Then number 9, they reprinted, and these comic book versions were on nicer paper. And I will take a look at one of these as soon as I find one I really want to look at. There it is. I found it. We'll look at this one first. This was issue 4, reprint of issue 14, where Destro joined Cobra. It was kind of cool. So we'll take a look at this one because this is a lot of people's favorite. This is issue 21, Silent Interlude. It was the first silent comic that just had sound effects and narration. In my game, you can play the Baroness. It depends on how the game master or referee sets it up. I made the military action game very generic so we could avoid like copyright and stuff, but you can use it to play any kind of military action adventure game, including G.I. Joe. And I'm using G.I. Joe as an example. Starting with our session 0, that's the campaign I'm going to be using. But it's going to be a totally different storyline that I've come up with. And yes, sir, silent but deadly. And the reason why I wanted to take this out and look at it is because the paper they printed this on was really high quality. And back in the day, they called this high quality paper Baxter paper. I don't know what they call it now, but it is a really decent comic. And like I said, there's no dialogue bubbles, but it's just all action, all the artwork. And Larry Hama actually, not only did he write this one, but he drew this one as well. Now, I'm pretty sure somebody went over and redid the inks and touched it up a bit, but his breakdowns are pretty cool. But I really like the high quality paper these comic book packs came with when they reprinted these issues. Really good stuff. Storm Shadow, this was his first appearance, and he kidnapped Scarlet, and Snake Eyes went in to rescue her. Really good issue. But like I said, they only had like narration and sound effects. So he was looking at the computer, so you could read what was on the computer. whatever you could see is what was in this book, but no dialogue. Hello, Neil Collects. Welcome. Looking at G.I. Joe comics tonight, sir. Winterilla says there should be a character called Smoke Grenade Girl who knocks people out with smoke grenades, and after they're already knocked out, the smoke comes out. You know what? In our military action game, you could create Smoke Grenade Girl. we'll call her SGG, Smoke Grenade Girl. That's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, you're right. There should be a character called Smoke Grenade Girl. Anyway, like I said, I really, really enjoy this comic, so I wanted to show it off, and I'm glad I didn't. I actually have 2 reprints of this, both that came with comic packs. The other one is with my my 1-55 run of Marvel, because I when I had a comic book store, I actually sold one, my original, out of my shop. Winter Willow laughs. And Spy Tick says, remind me not to piss off Smoke Grenade Girl. Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, some Cobra Trooper decided he was going to come up behind Snake Eyes, and, well, that would be his fate, off the side of the wall there. Great issue. And then Snake Eyes disguised himself as a Cobra Trooper. But did Scarlet really need Snake Eyes to save her? Not really. Scarlet's a real badass. I really like that character. She managed to escape on her own, and then when Snake Eyes showed up, she was already gone. Which was kind of a neat twist. He didn't have to come in and rescue her, but he was there for the pickup. So Winter Willow says, sorry, I know that was a silly idea. I'm slightly insane. I think we all are in our own ways. This is where they introduced the Red Ninjas for the first time, too. Storm Shadow and his Red Ninjas. Which they kind of forgot later on. Larry Hama, that's kind of his style. He just wrote the way he felt like in each issue. Then Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow fought. They recognized kind of each other's skill. It was kind of cool. Scarlet had already escaped, and she saw that Snake Eyes was trying to make his escape. So she went and rescued him. I really enjoy this issue. But then they showed that Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow had the same tattoo on their forearms. Kind of cool. The Arashikage tattoo, which Larry Hama didn't even know what he was going to do with it at the time, but it turned out pretty cool. And then what they would do is they would advertise for the figure that they had in the comic pack. So they had Snake Eyes in this one. It was pretty cool when they brought out the Commando in the modern line. Pretty good stuff. But they had a 2021B, which kind of happened during and around. He added some stuff to it. It was kind of neat. Winter Willow says the Red Ninjas should like wear green one day. No one would know it's them. I agree. I totally agree. Let's just give ourselves a color and only wear that. This is a really good reproduction of the original cover for issue 24, where they had Cobra Commander prisoner and Snake Eyes went and busted him out. I mean, Storm Shadow went and busted him out. Really, really good remake of that cover. And then there's a reprint of 25. I wish they'd done one of 26, because that's the one I'm missing in the Snake Eyes Origin series right there. But really nice reproduction of the original cover with the moccasin and the dragonfly coming and flying in above it. Really neat cover. Then they did another 32.5 with the Crimson Guard. This was kind of an interesting issue because they had Scarface as Cobra Commander's driver. And this pack came with a Fred Crimson Guardsman where you could take the helmet off and you could see Fred's face underneath the Fred series face. They all had plastic surgery to look the same. And then they also came with a Cobra Officer Scarface Cobra Officer. Now, like I said, it was weird because Scarface died in issue 19 of the series. But Larry Hama wrote that there was another Scarface Cobra Officer as Cobra Commander's driver in this issue. It was kind of weird. Then they did a 36.5 with Tomax and Xamot, which the issue 36 was their first appearance, and I just did a video on them. That's right, Spine Ticks. I'm Fred, you're Fred, we're all Fred. Neil Collect says, I'm not sure if I own any G.I. Joe comic book. Well, if you're into G.I. Joe, Larry Hama is as far as I'm concerned, the authority on the G.I. Joe storyline. This is basically just a reprint of issue 49. They didn't take the time to redo this cover. But this is where they went around and gathered DNA to make Serpentor. It was pretty cool. Serpentor's first appearance on like the last page of this comic. And this is when Fred the Seventh, a Crimson Guardsman, he had shot Cobra Commander and buried him and thought he killed him, and disguised himself as Cobra Commander and took over Cobra. And the Baroness helped him do it because she was sick of Serpentor at the time. It was pretty cool. Very nice reproduction of that cover here too. Anything with the Baroness as a cover, I generally like. Another comic pack reprint of issue 101. Some of these comic packs, they did a good job, but I love the quality of the paper they did. And then here's issue 115's remake for the 25th anniversary. It was really nice that they did that. And then they did some of the Image. They did one of the Image series, and I just did my take on CoverGirl not too long ago that this comic book came with, and it came with CoverGirl, Spirit, and then a Serpentor clone called Hannibal. And all these kids that they found this orphanage in this book were Serpentor clones, but only with the specific DNA to each of the Conquerors. I picked this one up in the Valor vs. Venom DVD pack with a bunch of red ninjas and stuff. And, of course, the fly is going to start bugging me right now. Cobra Kai, Cobra Commander. I love Cobra Kai. That was a good series. Then he started doing these new storylines all together. But for some reason, they started numbering with number 2. And they didn't know if they already had one in the series, like they did number 3, so they didn't do number 3. But this was basically Tunnel Rat versus Storm Shadow on the USS Flag. It was kind of neat. Then they did Storm Shadow versus Firefly. Really good storytelling in some of these. And it was right before he restarted his IDW run, where he restarted the series again. What's up, Victor? Looking at my G.I. Joe comics tonight. Glad to have you here, buddy. This is another comic pack with Destro and the Baroness again. This one was kind of neat because it came with an Iron Grenadier and it came with another Destro figure. I have a ton of these 25th anniversary Destros with the gold head and then that nice body armor he had. Everybody saying hi, cool. Nice book. And I'm glad they did this one, although it was really weird because Larry Hama didn't have Cobra Law in his storyline at all. But he did this bit where Falcon went up against Nemesis Immortal, is what they called him then, but he was originally a Nemesis Enforcer. And they both came in this 2-pack with Falcon and Nemesis Enforcer as Nemesis Immortal. And the new version of Nemesis Enforcer was really good. I love that figure. It's one of my favorites. Then they had a Shipwreck versus Copperhead issue. This was pretty good. Came with a Shipwreck and a Copperhead figure. Love both those characters. Both in my top 10 of Cobras and G.I. Joes. Then they had a Duke versus Red Star, which is weird because October Guard and G.I. Joe did fight sometimes, but a lot of times they work together. And although this says Red Star, I'm pretty sure that was Colonel Breckoff in that issue. They just called him Red Star because that was the figure that came out. He was supposed to look like Colonel Breckoff anyway. Winterell says, does G.I. Joe have superpowers? It's hard to say, not in general, but some of the characters do have abilities that seem like they're superheroes, but they're really normal guys that do super things. And that's really what I love about G.I. Joe. However, my military action game, we have you can get cybernetics and all sorts of stuff in that game, and what we call stims, which are shots where you can make yourself have heightened senses and other abilities. Victor says Shipwreck is always getting hit in the face. Yeah, he is, but he's also hitting back. Yeah, I got you, bud. Shipwreck is definitely one of my favorite characters too. We had Cobra Commander versus Tripwire. Definitely an interesting take. It was a 2-pack with Cobra Commander, Tripwire. It was a really good Cobra Commander figure. Yeah, Shipwreck is his brother. He might be with the beard going on. Then this was kind of a neat issue. It came with an apprentice Snake Eyes and the Hardmaster figure. Really cool set. Really neat comic. Did a story about how during Snake Eyes' ninja training. It was pretty cool. And I love this one. This was a Beachhead and Mainframe 2-pack, and this storyline, and they work together so well in this. And Beachhead, man, this is the first time they ever had you could swap out the heads, and they had a head that had like these mutton chops. It was kind of neat, but it was the first time they showed Beachhead's face on an action figure. It was kind of neat. Oh, I got one on the back on this one. Cool. Wild Bill versus Scrap Iron. Like I said, these comic packs were neat, and they were like individual stories that Larry Hama just wrote for Hasbro direct before he started his IDW run. Like I said, and Victor just laughs. Now, I managed to pick up some of the Order of Battle, which was basically the comic version of the G.I. Joe file cards, but I missed issue 1. So I have 2, and I have 3. 1 and 2 did all the Joes, 3 did the Cobras, and 4 did the vehicles. Really nice little series. Then they had one in IDW that I picked up. I managed to get one that was very similar in nature. This was a reprint of right after they ended the 155 issue run of Marvel. They put this out, and Todd McFarlane was going to draw G.I. Joe before he went over to Spider-Man, and he did a version of I'm pretty sure it's like issue 64 of G.I. Joe, 63 or 64 around in there, and might even have been issue 60. I'd have to look it up, but they actually decided to put out his version of that issue as a special edition, and it was pretty cool. Todd McFarlane, exceptional artist, and he drew Snake Eyes really well on this cover. I thought it was great. And then, of course, they had the original Marvel G.I. Joe and the Transformers, which Larry Hama didn't accept as part of his storyline until years later in his run. But I have the full run of this. There's 4 of them. And there was a really neat storyline with Hawk in there where a Cobra agent had pretended to be like a senator or a senator's assistant or something, and they ended up having a romance. Very different storyline for Hawk, and it was nice to see that in the comics. And this was definitely an interesting take on G.I. Joe and Transformers and how to put them together in the storyline, but not by Larry Hama. I managed to pick up this. There was a time when anything G.I. Joe I would grab, and I found this How to Draw G.I. Joe from Blackthorn Publishing. They used to do a lot of these How to Draw comics. I don't know if they still do, but they put out a lot of really cool, really good books on how to draw. Oh, here's that Devil's Due I was talking about from the Data Desk Handbook. This was the first issue, and it had a bunch of file cards in it. Yes, even Hawk needs love. Transformers, in a lot of ways, Scooby-Doo means G.I. Joe. Sometimes. Transformers is really cool, though, so it depends on whether you're a fan or not. Lady Hawk. I know it's a good movie, but yeah, he did have a romance in that one. That was pretty cool. Well, then I got the IDW series, and I managed to start getting some of them. I got picked up issue 4, and this was America's Elite. I think this was actually their second series that they did from Devil's Due, which was originally part of Image, but when they split off, they started their own. They had the contract, so they went and did their own series called America's Elite. And it had some really good storylines in it. I can't remember the author on that one, but it wasn't Hama. Definitely not a Hama series of books. But so it depends on your definition. Some people only prescribe the Hama books, but I was kind of desperate for G.I. Joe when I found these, and I'm like, wow, do G.I. Joe stories. And Devil's Due wasn't bad. Had a pretty good run on it. I've got, it only went like 34 issues, I think. And I'm missing like the first few. But then I started really collecting them. I think this one, issue 14. And like this was the Phoenix Guard. This guy right here was actually a Serpentor clone, who they named General Ray, who had been brainwashed to believe he was just a United States general. And all of these Phoenix Guard members were all Cobras in disguise. Like there was Copperhead, Scrap Iron back there. You had Firefly. Zarana was one of them, and I can't remember the other one. But they were all Cobra agents, and they infiltrated, and they actually tried to replace G.I. Joe for a while. It was a neat storyline where Cobra Commander was actually the vice president. Definitely kind of weird, but it's kind of a storyline that Cobra would go after. Nice cover of Cobra Commander, I thought. And then you have, of course, gotta have a Cobra Commander. You gotta have a good Snake Eyes cover. And you got even they had to have a good Baroness cover. Love the Baroness. And then there's the Phoenix Guard. The other one was Wild Weasel. That's right. This was when they got revealed as being the Phoenix Guard. So it was kind of cool. And then General Ray was dealing with the fact that he finally realized that he was Serpentor and he was trying to fight it. He actually fought it off and became a pretty decent character on his own. But then he tried to be Serpentor for a while, of course. Then they had a series called Sins of the Mother, where Baroness had a child by Destro. And so the Joes actually took her child when she was in prison. And she went on a big series here trying to get her kid back. Really good Baroness story. And then we've got, I don't think I managed to pick up all of it, but or maybe I did. There was 4 parts. And Sins of the Mother, part 1, part 2. No, I missed part 3. I did miss one. I thought so. But then, yeah, Cobra Commander treated them like puppets on a string, of course. And then they started the World War III saga line. And I'm pretty sure this was, let's see, that's part 3 of 12. So I think this was 2 issues earlier. So I think this was issue 25. And it has a wraparound cover with all the Joes. I'm pretty sure it was a wraparound cover. Let's take a look. Yep. So you got a wraparound cover on the outside showing every G.I. Joe that was ever a G.I. Joe up to that point. I've seen this picture a lot online too. But they went ahead and did it without the titles and everything on the inside of as a centerfold. It was pretty cool. That was basically their pick for the World War III. All the Joes involved in that. The whole saga. And then the next one I got was part 2. So I did it. I managed to get 26. I should have looked at the back here. Let's see. Victor Winter Willow says, who was the doctor guy who always had a safety message at the end of the episode? The doctor guy. I don't know, but the G.I. Joe show did. Doctor guy. Huh. I'd have to think on that one. Not sure. Here's part 3. Shipwreck and Cover Girl story. There were actually a couple in this series. It was kind of neat. I actually liked them as a couple. And we have part 4. Doc, yeah, Doc was their doctor. If that's who she's talking about, yeah, he did one of the public service messages at the end of one of the episodes. Doc is my favorite medic from G.I. Joe. I mean, Lifeline was okay, and Stretcher was pretty cool, but they had another guy named Red Alert later. But Doc was still the first and the best as far as I'm concerned. It's part 4 of the whole World War III saga. And that's kind of how they ended their run, was with the whole World War III. They knew their contract only had a certain amount of time, so we had looks like I missed part 5, but I managed to pick up part 6 because I was getting these after they'd already come out, and then right as the series was ending is when I was starting to collect. So I missed a lot of these Devil's Due for America's Elite, but it was a good series. I enjoyed it. So that's part 6 there. Then they had part 7. Very, very interesting storyline with World War III. And Winter Willow says, maybe I've ever only seen one episode that was burned into my little brain. Well, they had 65 episodes of the original run. They had 4 miniseries. Was it 4 miniseries? Yeah. They had Menace of the Mass Device, Revenge of Cobra, Pyramid of Darkness, Rise Serpentor Rise. And then they had a movie. So if you they did play them all as 5-part miniseries. And if you put them all together, it actually comes out to 100 episodes. It's kind of neat. Yeah, they had the part 7 and then part 8. And they tried to include every G.I. Joe character in this storyline. And they did a pretty good job of it. It was a 12-issue run on the World War III saga. So it was pretty cool. The last year they were doing it. They did the whole year. And then I do have issue 11. Basically, it was General Colton versus Cobra Commander right here. Hawk actually got shot in this one and was actually in a wheelchair for a long time after that in this storyline because they went in another storyline and they started another one. It was pretty good. But it was with a different company. I can't remember who had the contract there for a little while. It might have been IDW. IDW may have tried to start up where they left off. I don't remember. It's been a long time. We're talking almost 20 years. Then a hunt for Cobra Commander on Free Comic Day or one time, this one was 25 cents. But I think that was before they were doing Free Comic Day and they were trying it out. And like I said, I ended up getting one of those other declassified with the Dreadnoks, where it was supposed to be the Dreadnoks origin story. It was pretty good. Not bad. Not Hama, but not bad. That fills up that bid, so I need to grab another one here. Start filling this bad boy up. This right here covers the first 10 issues of the original Marvel run of G.I. Joe. I have this one. I think I have another one that does the same thing too. But big, thick book. Really nice paper. Really, really high quality color trade paperback. For a while there, they were bringing out big old collections of comics called the Essentials Guides. And I got a bunch of those that are on like newspaper. Let's see here. Like I said, I was desperate for G.I. Joe comics for a long time. And they put out a bunch of these trade paperbacks that I picked up. This is the worst of Cobra Commander. So they had a collection of issues where Cobra Commander was really bad, nasty. Hub actually started a IDW series called Origins, which he did his declassified one first, and then he did this. And he wrote quite a few of these trade paperbacks, as far as I know. They may have come out in regular single issues as well. They probably did. But I only collected them as Origins. And he wrote them until he I collected the 2 he wrote in the series of the trade paperbacks. So he probably did like about 12 issues for a year. And then he actually started doing he returned to the regular G.I. Joe line with IDW with issue 156. Actually, it was 155 and a half or something like that. It was kind of cool. But that's in those trade paperbacks I showed earlier. So when they did the Image run, they did some trade paperbacks with them too, and I managed to pick those up. And they called this series Disavowed, and it had the first few issues of that series. I love these trade paperbacks because it helps you get more of the story. And I got I only got 2 of these But man, they're so big. They have a hard time fitting in comic book bags. They really stretch them out. Before Halma came on to IDW, Chuck Dixon did a run on his G.I. Joe, and it lasted for a while even after Halma started up. But I got the first few of that in this trade paperback, and it wasn't bad. It was definitely different, definitely a different take. And then I managed to pick up some of the individual issues. There was number 1 and number 4. Both of those are in that trade paperback. And I got 5 and 6, it looks like. Oh no, just 5. This right here is part of the Cobra series. Now, maybe it was just the issue I got, but this one right here, everybody raves over G.I. Joe Cobra. I wasn't a fan. Chuckles went really extreme in that, and to keep his cover, he even killed Jinx in this series. And I thought that there was a better way to get her out of that situation than to actually kill her to prove that he was undercover. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. A lot of people like the Cobra series. Then IDW had a series after the movies came out where Ray Park, the guy who played Snake Eyes, actually wrote this series for Snake Eyes. Really interesting, but it was definitely in the movie universe. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. And I'm pretty sure it was a 4-issue run, and I managed to get the whole series. I did like the movies. I mean, I don't consider them like canon or anything, but they were fun to watch. We got G.I. Joe movies, and then, I was happy for that. I mean, it wasn't the perfect storyline, but it was all right. Devil Soup put out a series called Reloaded, and I managed to pick up a couple of those, and it was pretty interesting. Not the best of them, but that pretty much got one more. That'll sum up my collection of G.I. Joe, and I managed to get a European Missions, and they actually had G.I. Joe in Great Britain and the UK, but they called them Action Force, and I don't have any of those, but I did get one of the reprints that they called European Missions over here in the States as part of the Marvel UK run that they had there for a while. So this was kind of nice, and they had Flint as a colonel in the Action Force. It was kind of neat. So if you're into G.I. Joe comics, that's my collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be taking off tonight. I have some other things I need to do, but I definitely wanted to go over my collection, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I guess that kind of sums everything up. So if anybody has any questions for me, I'll give you a couple minutes here, and then I'll sign out for the night. Just really enjoy the whole comic run of G.I. Joe. Mostly the Larry Hama stuff, but that's all my stuff that I have that's not Larry Hama as well. Well, thank you, Spine Ticks. I appreciate it. So on that note, I think I'm going to wait. I think Luna wants to join the stream. Nope, she's just after something. Good night, Victor. Good night, everybody. I appreciate you being here. And with that all being said, Logan out.